We are live here on Voices Podcast Election Edition. Right here on the phone, I have Dr. LANNY, who is an upcoming political candidate. Essentially, just due to technical difficulties, it's not quite possible to have him on the live itself, but that's quite fine because what's most important right now is the information. So, pleasant good night to all of you. Thanks for tuning in. I am, of course, Shabian Cyril, ATN investigative journalist for Radio Madness. Here with me is Dr. LANNY HOBSON. Dr. HOBSON, good night. How are you?
Good night, Brother Cyril. I'm doing well. Thanks for the invite. My voice is sounding better, and it's good. And people are striving, and they strive with an honest and a sincere heart. And that's what we plan to impart to our people, our vision, our goals, and the way how we like Anguilla to go in the future. So I do have a vision. So yes.
Well, Sina,
like you said, how you doing?
Oh, well, I'm good myself. To be honest with you, it is rather shocking that we have an elections this close. This is rather a tight date because essentially what the administration has done, and we understand that politics isn't about what's fair and what's right, you understand me? Quite frankly, politics, even so moreover, we can even say Caribbean politics on a whole, has always been about who for who,
Yes.
So, to be honest with you, politics has never been a fair game. It has felt as though this administration has given the election date at such an unfair time. Understanding elections was in 2020. What are your thoughts about the election date?
Well, the date is basically catch a lot of people off guard because, as you know, in my particular case, I was explaining to you about getting radio slots, including our particular station that we even bother with again. Even though we get the time on and we will honor that commitment with the young Nayamke Brooks. The time slots will already basically be booked out, Brother Cyril. So it's a way of blocking out your opponents in terms of the flights because it's the middle of the week, so it'll be hard to come in.
Right.
It's a short time, so then it wouldn't make sense. If you order shots from away, that could be a waste of time and resources.
True.
But and I are thinking about that, and we say, scrap that. We're focusing now on the radio time to see how it goes. And then based on the vibes and the feedback, we know by nomination day what is what. But obviously, it's a big disadvantage because to expound on issues is just the re. And the people already would have gotten 3 meetings of re. And then the third meeting, you heard that the election is going to be February 25th. So nobody now going to be, open-minded in a sense. And then it was shocking and off guard. And then that time I had a cold and everything, like a Twilight Zone type of effect, Brother Cyril. So obviously that would have been done for the advantage of the incumbents. Yeah. Right. And sometimes, like in the UK, it backfired. But whatever consultants might have been here, they might have felt that they would have given who's in now the advantage. Because they like to speak about tourist voters and voters away. All of those are the factors that would have played into it. And as you said too, having a chance to formulate a message, because people are asking, well, where the lion is. But now, obviously, the parties who got money, if they scramble to buy up the radio time, would you hear a lion?
No.
Not necessarily. So, luckily, before the Monday, Brother Cyril, I asked Brother Hammer to be on. And so then he honored the Thursday tuition for tomorrow. And then now we got to see now how genuine the others now can step up to help pay for the radio time for the other weeks if they really want the lion. You understand what I'm saying? So your question, as you'll see here, that is basically what's the catch people of God. You will have seen the, that AI video went out, said a bust chest. And the other group, we won't call them, or the other group is not fully constituted. So that's the reason why that would be done. And yes, Brother Cyril, is very, very short. Especially if you're working, who can put up signs now? You can't put up signs. Who got time to find people to go do that? You have to put them up, you have to take them down. So it changed the entire paradigm. The last time, like you were alluding to, in your voice note to me, you had more time to explain and expound on issues. So what I like to say now, education, justice, basic income, just in case, you know, them common lack of the court or something. You know what I'm saying? So these are what games, shenanigans. But you don't get better, we get better, Brother Cyril. But yes, I concur with what you are saying. And just, you know, to see, you know, how life does go, how you see a lot of stuff going on in the States. And how the families getting messed up because of the policies of this president. That's what it felt like here in Anguilla too. And that's how a lot of people, the day when that happened, the day after, they were shell shocked. So for the majority of people, it is a shocking time. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt.
No, I definitely...
Because there's no time to expound the issues. But you know, we are ready to expound issues anytime. Yes.
No, I definitely agree with you. And I appreciate that that opinion. What is the Lion all about? You're an independent candidate running in the election cycle this year. What is the Lion all about, really and truly?
Lion is all about seeing people thrive and not only survive in their country. Lion is about the universal health because, you know, like this case, like the core, your health is important. When you have even a little cold, a little virus, when you're not 100%, you can't take the way how you want to take. You can't feel you have that drive to be able to go there to push and rally. But luckily now, because of taking the meds, I am able to speak to you with a voice. Yeah, and it has enough power, but we can't overpower the voice. So universal health is always going to be the first. Because if you're there and you're sick, then you're not participating as a full citizen.
Right.
We are about proper universal education. Not just education, but proper universal education. We want everybody to be as educated as possible, including with manners, respect, ethics, respect for teachers. Your mom is a teacher.
Yes.
Your mom is a teacher. Respect for the learning, for the love of learning, and not mocking learning, all types of learning. Technical learning, AI learning, creative learning, journalism, like what you are doing.
Yes.
Handwork, plumbing, and not just only the book stuff, but all forms of learning. So that's what I mean by universal. We also want to ensure that our people, when they educate themselves, have the opportunity to get good paid jobs in Anguilla, that they are protected in Anguilla, that they can farm a business easy in Anguilla. So we ask about the Anguilla Business 4.0. We skip from 1.0, Brother Cyril, all the way to 4.0 to make it easy that you can get a business license in under hour online. It's not the job of the government to be giving you the runaround to get a business license. If your product is going to be able to survive the market, lead the market determine it.
Right.
But not through harassing your citizens. A lot of Anguilla people, Brother Cyril, get a runaround every day. All the time. Burning energy. You know the offices in Anguilla close at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so then you gotta come back the next day again. We are about helping people now, today, efficiently. We are about Anguilla people getting a universal basic income. We not just about giving contracts to my brothers and my sisters alone. We're not just about doubling a salary to somebody making 25,000. We want a person who out there in a little business to get that 5,000. So for me, I will give the $5,000 across the board, excluding rich people. So we want our people, like I said, to be participating in the economy without stress. If people say that they are burdened with the economy and the GST, alleviate it. So I support quote unquote handout. It's a help out. We are here on this earth. Why should Cyril be suffering over money that man created? So my mentality is money is man-made, but God made us as human beings. You got dignity. You, I, everybody. So that's why we are focusing on what? Universal. Even the jokers and the haters, everybody. So they make it universal. You gotta look whether you're from Eastern, whether you like me or don't like me. You're eliminating the confusion. You're trying to make the school better because they don't want to have no gangs. Right. So you try to break up the gangs in a positive way by showing social solidarity. And that's where you come up with your plans and your procedures. So for instance, Lion Shield, Lion Shield, Lion Shield. That's me, Brother Cyril. I have the newspaper in my hand. You can't see it, but I see the copy of it. And you have seen press release number 22, explaining the process. When was it done, Brother Cyril? 2014.
2014, yes.
So people telling you now about a senior shield and older junior shield a couple of days before the election, they would not be as sincere as Lion, because it'll be for who? Everybody.
Everybody, right.
So once you somebody who smoke up or drink up a bunch of rum, end up on dialysis, you can pay $18,000 a month for them. But if a child 6 years old get some stitches, he got to pay out of pocket. Which one cheaper? The $300 and the $18,000. So that's the principle is that you're looking for fairness, and the learn is all about fairness, explaining budgets, explaining information, and trying to empower the people. Yes, and of course, the universal payment system, because we know how to improve the GST, and we all about getting that GST approved also. So Lion is about universal health because you're made here. But we know as human beings, we don't live forever.
Right.
We live for a short period of time.
Right.
So we don't promote no gangs, we don't promote no division. We want people while they're living to live and thrive and not just survive. So the health, the education, and then definitely what? The justice. Lots of people would have gotten criminal records because of the marijuana plant. We don't want to mess up the life. We don't encourage or endorse smoking because it can damage your lung tissue. But we are about using marijuana as a part of the Lion Common Agricultural Policy. So we want the people to be farmers. We want the diversification. We want our Anguilla people to be able to get things done easily in Anguilla. But you know how Anguilla actually is. We got gangs in the school. We got a 40-year-old who has more than 23. Nothing solved. We want to bring peace to Anguilla because Matthew chapter 5 is, blessed are the peacemakers. So we believe that knowledge, now showing up on my other page, my Facebook Live, at the same time to the people, that knowledge is power, and explaining the politician pension. The politician pension is unfair, Brother Cyril.
Yes.
Nobody pays into it. Nobody pays into it. But it's millions upon millions of dollars for a dozen people. But when it comes to you and other people in your age group, there is no money for them. Why do they refer to the politician pension as a handout? Because it benefits them. But if you get a $500 tax credit, you want to refer to that as a handout. I'm saying it's just money. We shouldn't be killing ourselves and going overboard. Money is a tool that man created so that man can make a means of exchange, a method of accounting, and it can also be a store of value. And so for us, we believe that explaining the theory of money, the modern monetary theory, that too can help the people to not get so crazy to sell them vote, to degrade themselves, and that type of stuff. We want to empower the people to the universal health, education, justice, and basic income. So the line is being interviewed by Brother Cyril for anybody when I join on the Facebook live. Next question, Brother Cyril.
All right, no, well, I appreciate that response. And of course, tonight, I essentially trying to hit two topics: the influences of, the impact or the factors that build into child behavior as well as Anguilla finances. And it's quite two interesting topics to coincide or to do at the same time. But I feel as though they make perfect sense to go hand in hand, because I believe that Anguilla's financial situation is having an impact, or is one of many impacts on child behaviors. From listening to you talking about universal health and the what may have you, and I'm here sitting thinking of what is here in the UK that's already established national insurance. Even so, with that, what I've been told, finally, I've gotten a bit explained to me, and they said national insurance is for everything public. It is so the employers pay a certain amount to the HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue and Collections, and you as an employee still have to pay. So essentially, no, that money is now used to improve public infrastructure, whether that may be the parks, the children's playing grounds, the roads, everything for the country, everything that's public infrastructure. That is what it was used for. It sounds as though you have an idea as to how to go about a proper plan, a universal plan that includes everything or that has something for everybody. So I would say, in your field of experience, as my next question, well, and remembering the discussion that you had on the Mayor Show on Class FM Saturday We're Gone, let's start with what are the overall factors from your point of view that really are having a serious impact on children behavior right now in Anguilla?
Cultural shift definitely will be an impact. Before, there was a lot of respect for teachers and teaching. Once we started to just change our system without having the proper universal education, with proper technical education, they just hurried it together without proper planning. So planning of the education is important because quality matters, brother Cyril. Quality matters. So when they switch over that system, we started to notice the decline there. We didn't have gang, but you had more wild talk, wild behavior coming in the so-called comprehensive system. Yes. Then now, so now if learning means that we just go to high school without any standard, where they could read or not, just based on the age. You no longer had repeating, you no longer was focusing on quality, just the quantity of the age. They had lead to chaos. They end up leading to chaos. So by the time we end up in fifth form, a few people passed because at that time they had a lot of breaks in the school, they had all kind of changes in the schedule, and then the results were terrible. The year after was also terrible. After a couple of years, they started to catch back up itself with that comprehensive system with with exams would have shown results that look halfway decent. So then afterwards, due to cultural drift and shift, individuals were learning stuff from other cultures with gang activity that would have crept into the school. And then because a lot of people used to skip the classes and the school was basically, the way how the design was layout, it made it easy for truancy. And then it just had basically a breakdown, and that's how you end up seeing the school wall becoming so tall. And that's because weapons just be thrown over the wall, and they just made the wall bigger. They put up the barbed wire. That was one of the responses to the chaos at that time in the 90s. So then by that time, after I went to school and come back to be a teacher, we would have heard about the gang fights. And they continued to when I was there. But at least it was involving weapons and such. And then from there, as the time went on, we started seeing the gangs that were formed in the school, the violence spread out into the community. And then we had one person would have been gotten killed out of the Jamila. She was my student in high school. And there was one shocking incident that happened way back. And then just keep on degrading from there. So, of course, the factors that others would have mentioned on the program, like societal factors, envy, covetousness, and then the lack of discipline. And also the lack of true crime resolution, where a lot of crimes took place in Anguilla that were not solved. A lot of killings in Anguilla, not solved. So you live in a society that's very small, with a lot of unsolved killings. Then with the gang impunity, it continued from bigger individuals influence those children. The children can't buy those guns. So I don't even have to buy it, whether from Samaritan and came to the post office or wherever, right? So then when you combine that now to other cultures, we no longer talk about respect and morals. Learning out of the door, they're attacking learning, they're talking about play, about money. And then like you mentioned it now, and the whole point now is just about grabbing money to maintain certain lifestyle for some individuals. That could be a possible factor. Of course, you know, that the children now, I don't know their home situations, whether it's two parents, whether it's struggling or not. But there was a possibility that the economic difficulties and such are the focus basically on survival doesn't leave room for the moral development in the children from the parents. Because like you were mentioning, the parents likely could be stressed out. And because the culture change, when people don't want the children to be corrected, it makes it difficult for non-relatives to intervene. And then with the idea of teachers getting assaulted by students, we reach this stage. So it's multifactorial, like we would have mentioned, and that's how come we emphasize universals, because if they don't look at the whole pie, you can end up with a slats where the culture can slide up. So those are different factors that influence how the school reaches this stage.
That was perfect. That was perfect. That was sound. Well, I know at times, even so, as you explained, my mother is a teacher. I would have these conversations with her. And one point I pointed out to her, I said, Ma, back in the day, the older heads, even if they couldn't read and write, they used to push the children to go to school. Even if they couldn't understand the work, they understood that red X means that you got it wrong, and a red tick means that you got it correct. And they used to actually push the youth to, go to school because they saw the importance of it. But he said, right now, what we are seeing is that the children don't have that same level of interest in the education. And I said to her, how can you expect them to have the interest or the seriousness for education if the parents themselves don't necessarily have it in the same way? And I explained to her that you can't really expect the parents to have it in the same way, because we are in a society where at this point, what's the chances that you leave school and you using your subjects, or your subjects is what grants you a job that actually pays, So
that's a factor, right?
Right. And so my question to you is, in looking, I feel like that's a particular point we need to watch. The ability to use to leave school and actually know that you are seeing the purpose of the education that you work so hard for. Even so, there are a number of who I would describe as unsung heroes, in the sense that they would have left Anguilla and they would have gone away, got their qualifications, and are unable to say use those qualifications in Anguilla because we have a thing where you're overqualified.
Yes, that's a factor that trying to use against people against a double whammy, right? You're trying to get educated and you get your qualifications, they use it against you. They don't have the qualifications, they use it against you. That's why we tell the children in the school I was teaching, you still get it, so the people don't use the fact they don't have it to discriminate against you. Because now if you have the qualification, you might be able to get a break in a different island, different nation. And also too for the joy of achievement, the joy and the love of learning itself. You see? So one part of learning is to be able to utilize it. Other part of learning is loving learning for the sake of learning itself. That is very important. But yes, once you are finished with school, you want to be able now as an adult to participate in the economy. And that's how can we say Anguilla for the Anguillians. Don't be telling me how great and wonderful it is if a bunch of Anguilla people around, and it's very difficult for Anguilla, right?
Right.
So this is the situation that you are pointing out. And yes, a lot of Anguilla people, Brother Cyril, might want to come back Anguilla, but they know that discrimination, they know that gang business, and so the gang business tried because the adults too got a mindset of a gang, even though they might not be wearing the colors. So Cyril, that job too good for he. Why should he get a government job? But now somebody else from away who not qualified as Cyril, because who doing the hiring, they patriotic and loving enough going to ensure that some non-angular person, look at the police force, getting all of this stuff. Look at even civil service now, right? And those are the secure jobs. And as you're correctly pointing out, having a secure job and a pension and a 30 days of holiday, that's a big blessing.
But isn't that the overall purpose?
Double salary. Those people will feel good. But when we out here making a business, Brother Cyril, and struggling, we getting no double salary, we paying double tax. So there's a disconnect. So we want people to be educated, and we want Anguillians. Stop putting the roadblocks in the Anguillian today. It's just a mentality. So you see, separately from politics now, how politics set up, it's set up to chop up. It's set up to chop up. It's a gang too. So when you know, that's why, like I said, health is important. To speak a positive message, you don't get as much good people as they do, like that guy, you know, the famous fellow, the father and stuff from sick kids, and that kind of drive away. People love that, Brother Cyril, that's reality. Not everybody, but the majority. That's how they treat. So, yeah, they'll say, yeah, Dr. Hassan explained the stuff well, and he made well. Your mom will mean that, Edward could mean that, Sister Sandra will mean that. But we in our majority, we are plurality. So it's 1,653 votes, plus the 163. So say, Brother Cyril, we are 1,806 people strong. Yeah, there's a total votes on the layer. But
that's strong, yes.
Separately from that though, at least though, that means we got people who are interested in our positive vision, but it takes effort, and that's why we were trying to form a genuine team, but that did not happen, Brother Cyril. And yes, we want to still emphasize to people the knowledge and getting the knowledge is also a means of people not being bored. Yeah? You occupy their time. But after you occupy that time, with the respect for the teachers and learning, then now you want to integrate and ensure that the Anguillians, that's why we fight for the basic income still. Suppose you can't get a job because don't like it. You know, people don't like you for a reason. People tell me so. I don't like this, I don't like that.
Common thing.
Like, you know, say you hear two people, right? They say, oh, I don't like so that you hear. So don't tell me that, right? That's how we know. They have our way of living. So since you know that, we want the Anguillians to get at least 3,000 and maybe at some point 5,000 a month in basic income, like in Sweden, for instance, where you don't go broke and you can have your own startup if possible. You see what I'm saying? And that money that you making and that you have coming from our common Anguillianness, that AI domain. We didn't create that AI domain. It was given to Anguilla, a top level country code. Okay? So because that top level directory country code, TLDCC, by law, that should benefit all of us.
It should, yes.
Not just giving it to majority, to the top servants, civil servants, and the top politicians, but fairly starting from the bottom up. In other words, people who are the millionaires, they get none. They don't need it.
No, right.
Right? The people who are making 500,000, 20,000, top managers, they don't need it. Yeah, they are top making civil servants, they don't need it. Top party, they don't need it. Let's start from the bottom with our school leavers, give them purpose, the senior citizens, the middle age, and help our private businesses. And so that's why the Lion Paycheck Protection Program, which I've told to my brother, Dr. Lanny Hobson, that's the ideas that we push, and that's how come we don't have no property tax, because Lion, no property tax. Mentioned to my brother, he's in the meetings with the politicians. The ideas come, Brother Cyril, from the civil servants. So we share our ideas with the patriotic civil servants. So whether or not we get to be on radio, my brother said, my brother, he's still in the Ministry of Finance. The ideas from me go reach to him, and they're going to reach to affect the Anguilla people. So whether or not we in or we out, we try to make Anguilla better. We want to fight for the children to, as a bargain. The harder you put in your effort, then too, the bigger will be the slice of your Anguilla AI pie. And we also want deep sea fishing licenses to help the Anguillas. You just can't be saying the billion road alone. Only the road contractor can make benefit, right? We are got roads. But how many people can work on a construction site?
True.
So everybody can work construction. So yes, concrete can help you to feed yourself. If you make the money from working in construction for those families, but you want it to be a wider net, a wider net. So everybody can participate and feel as if they're part of society. And that is a way of building social solidarity, like in those countries like Norway, Sweden, and Finland.
No, I agree with you. And it makes me wonder, it takes me back to the recently concluded mayor show Saturday Wagan with the young girl from I think it's Inside Our Mind or Inside Our Minds, Soraya, when she said about envy, if you remember.
Yeah, she did mention envy.
And
she mentioned greed too.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm here wondering, you're here looking at essentially, let's say, from listening to you, it sounds as though putting the people in a much better positive frame of mind can do a lot more for society. And it's why even on the radio station, I said that I don't think that our societal fabric has been completely distorted and destroyed. I think it's more so of a matter of things are rough, things are hard, it's hard times. Maybe if things got alleviated, we wouldn't have to be so envious, you understand me? I mean, we still do have the problem of the foreign white man being seen as complete royalty and being given the all-be-all, his free way to get through Anguilla. I think that's a major problem, you understand me? But I guess it just takes for that one person to make that cultural impact for it to finally go away.
Right. And that's why you got a group of us. That's why you try to find a wide group, as you notice and as we keep on mentioning. Because we try to tell people nobody said them no Superman. No. When I felt bad, sick yesterday, I did a Facebook live, and then afterwards, I wanted to come back on later on to do it. But because of my throat, you see, and even tonight I have some problems. It's a bunch of us together can make our country better. But when people share the memes with the mockery, it's the same thing as the gangs between the blue and the red, the blood, the Crips, the camps, and that type of stuff. It's similar. It might not be involving with guns, but it involves inflicting pain and it involves dissing people because of envy. You're trying to put them down, right? And you promote a lot of negativity. And I tell people, yeah, that sounds good that you're talking about life, about the issues. But say, but like go on Facebook and look at the interactions. People interacting with tit-for-tat between the blue and the yellow. That's the article I say. And at one point, when somebody had made a comment, everywhere in Anguilla depressing, the food prices, yes, they're high, like you mentioned it. And we know different factors that can make them high. But imagine now the mother only making 2,000 EC a month, or 2,200, even 2,400, right? Everything, especially yesterday, in that cheap, the having the Wi-Fi, that's $369, right? Having whatever amenities that is necessary because of the school is necessary. So having Wi-Fi is necessary in your house. Right. You see? And you need a laptop, a tablet also. And this can, as you have mentioned it, those are factors that we as a society, we can take that part. Right? And in addition though, the others who can show the empathy, like Sister Sandra mentioned it, they can come along. All of us can meet everybody. We don't say no who may be going through problems. But if you know and you got a skill, you can have about the talking. But like you also alluding to, as a human being, there are certain physical needs you must have. You must have it. I can't be out there out the cold with my shirt off, with a big cough, and I have shelter. Right. I need to have the medicine. I need to have a bed. I need to have cold water. I need to have some juice. So these are also important factors. But you put it together. But rather than being about competition and downgrading and bad talking, they were, hey, you're a human being like me and you. So the same way how you would feel bad, somebody bad talk you and gossip on you, don't do it. That's back to our morals again. Moral education, code ball, as a theory of moral development. We no longer teach that as an emphasis to in the community. So she was alluding to. But when we demonstrated, like I said to you the last time with the previous interviews, that encouraging you to keep it up, that's a way of showing your true nature. We all know the bad-minded people. Maybe those are people who have been against.
True.
Maybe those politicians that we bringing up, maybe they were once helping people to buy the guns.
You never know, because it's happening in other Caribbean islands.
You see what I'm saying? So when we keep on allowing certain people bad behavior to be cheerleaded on, we encouraging the nonsense. Nobody was really crying upset about the guy who got murdered, Shaquan, in 2023, October. The day after, the argument on the radio was about shooting the leg versus shooting the chest. We didn't get no time to even I called it first, luckily before that confusion happened, and some other people before, and I mentioned about the mother, the family. You imagine that happened to you, we can imagine it, but we ain't feeling it, but we can imagine it. So that empathy will put it on a higher plane. In societies, as you see that happen in America, the common denominator, lowest common denominator can sometimes rule, and that's a crudeness. Our antidote is the law of power, flower power.
True.
But as you know, it takes a bunch of us to do it. Like I tell Eddie, years ago, I used to support me for the States. It need to be on the government level. It can't be no one man thing but a Cyril. We can get drunk out physically. They will say, oh, liar this, liar that, all that nonsense. And the same people who say them believe in taxing figures can come repeat the same nonsense. That's how that happened me. You see what I'm saying? So I will not report to you no negative nonsense because you are there explain to me how Anguilla is. I know how Anguilla is. I know. I don't need to be putting out negative energy into the wall. Let me fight, to have to make it civilized. And when we talk this way, it'll boost people. That's why I meet people like Max say. That's how I meet me and other people. And you work together towards a common goal. When you know you have to deal with hypocrites, they have to deal with. And that's why you also emphasize, but we are not dumb. So you need the compassion, you need intelligence.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. And even if I want to just add on a little bit there, when you see you have a positive mind. I remember when I was in high school, a teacher said if you just adopt a much more positive mind when it comes to the subject, you will learn it better. You understand me? And I often tell those on the job too, like we all have our own individual lives that are very hard. Why come down on the job and make my life harder or just make it unbelievably more difficult than it already is? Just come down, bring good vibes. It makes the day go a lot easier and just adds a bit of happiness. Sometimes just a smile or a nice compliment can be such a difference between thunderstorms in someone's day and bright sunshine. Yes,
I agree. 100%. It got enough negativity in the world. That's how come like I adjust my TV watching habits. That killing spree over in the Gaza and Sudan. Sometimes you watch it, and you want to, just lay down as opposed to be sitting up and like look at a computer. Then you buy something you need to lay down. But you can't take in all that negativity. As a physical and a spiritual being, we can't harbor negativity and that influence us. It influences our health, including our immune health. It can cause stress in our bodies. So if you're always with negative this and negative that and such, that's how come at a particular point I don't comment on Facebook no more. We see how the world turn, and that country in America, I just distance myself from the comment. You don't tag me, so once you go on Facebook, you automatically see the tag. But just leave the people say that means creative stuff and don't come and participate. Because it's just about survival, like you say. You see? So these things we are exposed to, and because the children now are exposed to social media, on social media, becoming very dissocial. Without comparison and negativity, and that's how come true for the children. It's more acute because back then we were at home, we used to play marbles, we used to go play Concerex, play cowboy, Indians, play baseball, play football, play American football, play cricket. Then after that, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, go home, do your homework, study, go sleep 9 o'clock, back to school. Good morning, Mr. So-and-so, we just enter and you can stand up. Manners and respect.
Yes.
All that down the drain.
Oh, yes. But you're a doctor, you understand, Mr. Hobson. I think one thing that might have slipped over your head is that law in physics, as it pertains to energy, where it says energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transferred from one medium to the next. Doc, whatever happened to the children going to school listening to children's songs or gospel music or even reggae music first thing in the morning, as opposed to a whole heap of badness, soca rhythms, soca music, and that sort of sexual immorality? Because in the sense that if we want to talk about having our children have a better mindset when it comes to the school, I think it even goes as far as the music. I was watching a TikTok video and they said with every generation in the world, the problem has always been the music. What are your thoughts and opinions on how the overall music that the children are exposed to, even first thing in the morning, what are your thoughts are in terms of impact on their behavior, as a last point to just wrap up this small subtopic?
Yes, that have impact on them because the lyrics are easy to repeat and the lyrics from our culture and our mindset. And so because it's set to music and human beings are rhythmic beings also, this has a direct psychic impact on their mindset. If you just hear about kill and drill music, boom, 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 it's discarded. As opposed to nice and pleasant rhythms. You're not on that hype method all the time. So some other class, they look at you, what are you looking at me for? That kind of thing. That can affect your emotional state. Yes? In addition to nutrition, the thing that you put in your body and in your mind will affect you.
Yes.
So whether it's alcohol or whether it's negative music, loud music, that can definitely impact you, including your brain function, because it goes directly to your artery system, and that can also affect the brain. And before, like you say hear things like, love him in the morning when you see the sun rising. Yeah. You remember that song from way back when I used to go private school and such. And those positive things such as congratulations once again. That's a song by Jimmy Swagger. And that's a long time ago. I still can remember it. And now going to Alhambra Christian school. They get more of that positiveness again. Yeah. So you get that filter in, not only on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and also sometimes Sunday afternoon with the Sunday school and with scouts. You had that reinforced about manners and respect. It changed over now to bling, aggressiveness, conflict, and dissent. So that definitely will impact the children's mindset. And that's how come, like I said, it depends on parents and also culture. The parents part of the culture and the inner culture, and the culture can also influence the children and the parents.
No, I agree with you, and I appreciate your response on that question. Wanting to now move on to the other half of this interview here. To the listeners, the policies that Mr. Hobson has, definitely once he's sent me that information, I will pop it into a post on Facebook for it to be seen. And of course, I will do a follow-up interview because he has policies that he's developed based on just the overall needs and situation that is ANGUILLA right now. But I definitely want to make it a separate interview where he can actually fully explain all of these policies, and you would have already seen them on the Facebook post already. But now to bring us up to the other half of this segment, ANGUILLA Finances Explained. You've been someone that understands the whole financial situation from the get-go. Even while I was looking at the 2024 budget, I was looking at loan repayments to CDB, and exactly as you explained from the last interview, I saw the information there and I understood it clearly. So I would say, I think out of all the finances right now, one of the three things that come to my head in terms of ANGUILLA Finances is the $500,000 2025 budget, as well as GST, and I would even say the overall banking crisis. But that can always stay, that historical part can always stay for later. I think right now, as we are in the beginning of the election cycle, I want to understand or help the viewers understand what this $500,000 budget is all about. we saw last year that there was a deficit. So if you could even explain to us how that even factors into this year's $500,000 budget, and just explain to us the overall parameters, everything about it first, please.
Right. So the government, the Ministry of Finance, are prepare economic plans, and they're forecasted. They call forecast projected revenue. You gotta look at your revenue that you're gonna get first, and then your expenditure. So the revenue is expected to be doing well because now COVID story is gone. We have the air domain name, which was a boost, and we end up getting more numbers in the tourism product than expected. So the government does a budget. That's meaning now the technical government, not the ministers. Technical government. They look at a baseline, what's going on there now. They look at a positive outlook and a negative outlook. So that's how come you can hear different numbers. That's what they say. It was projected to be 458 million for this year, but now it is 526.35 million because that came from the positive outlook in the medium-term economic and fiscal plan. The UK government ensured that Anguilla government is not just making a budget on the fly, but they're preparing budgets for 3 to 5 out to 10 years. So those numbers are projected numbers. Yeah? So that doesn't mean that it will be exactly $609 million, and it will be exactly 448 million. In this case now, they changed that 458 million to 526.35 million. Now, when they have the expenditure, they have the recurrent expenditure, which is mainly the salaries, the rents, the materials, and all those other costs. And then you have capital expenditure. So you have recurrent revenue, recurrent expenditure, and then capital expenditure. Capital expenditure helps to build the country. If you talk about the country progressing, that's the buildings like the airport, those are roads, those are school buildings, those are clinics, and any other type of infrastructure. Back in 2022, there's only $7 million spent on capital expenditure. So because there's more money coming in, and you know one of the reasons why, AI, artificial intelligence, but AI is also what Anguilla domain name is AI. So because of the coincidence, we are making extra money. Yes? So now the budget is able to be higher because the revenue is higher. So the revenue is higher now meant in the case of the government is spending more of the money, but the government must also have results. The government has 332 days of results. Now, I don't do no party. The government, so in other words, even if there are no elected people, the money coming in to the treasury via GST, which you mentioned, the broad-based tax, which includes accommodation tax, and the AI domain name, GST is still the main factor. Then it's also helped a lot by the AI domain name. And so far too, $50 million was touted as being the monies that might have been collected, maybe so far for this year alone. So you will hear in the future a budget being $609 million. That means that there is growth in the Anguilla economy.
Right.
So from a macro point of view, that's a positive, regardless of who is there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because it has to do now with revenue was coming in. Now, when the government can show its skill, it's not just to ramp up your salaries, not just to double salaries out, not just to overspend, but to ensure that when you're spending, you're doing a universal basic income. Why? But zero, so the money can spend in Anguilla. Giving a rich man more money is not going to help.
No.
So the airport, we can afford the airport. So I got no problem with the airport business.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that I don't overspend, but it's $472 million. And the reason why the $472 million not gonna be 1 year, so it's not a debt as yet. You do not account the debt, accrue the debt until you reach it. So if you plan to buy a car next year, it's not counted as debt. That's how it is accounted. It's not a debt yet because you will buy the car based on how much money you make. You see? So you can adjust your plans. So there in the medium-term economic and fiscal plans, you can adjust the spending and you can adjust the projected revenue.
You can fine tune it.
You have to make sure that you can pay off the debt. The debt is manageable. The debt is manageable. But we owe the bank, yeah? And I, for one, believe that we should own the bank and give us, the Anguilla people, the shares.
Yes.
Because when you own things, Brother Cyril, you're getting power.
Yes.
When we own it, we show it solidarity. You see what I'm saying? Not when a certain set of politically connected people own it. That's how you get envy, that's how you get division. So because the bank failed, we bailed it out. So the debt was there. Yes, the debt was there, that's telling the truth. You see, we're not interested in the blame game. We're interested in explanation like a teacher, like your mom is what a lion is. And now we're saying we can improve. We're moving from where we are talking about debt at one point, Brother Cyril, it was 551.86 million. Now it's down to 332 million. But if you are making 525 million and then next year you expect 569 million, the debt is manageable. So what you're doing, you set aside some of the money for the Lion, for how I call it now, the Lion Sovereign Wealth Fund. I give myself the credit. I'm waiting for them to steal my ideas, pay themselves, and people link me to the side. The Lion Sovereign Wealth Fund. We just good about it, Brother Cyril.
Yes.
I don't spread that positive idea in my brother head. That idea already up in the government. That already a government policy now. But what you think they did? They're going to pay the family members to be on that board. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Send them with National Health Fund, send them with Senior Shield, send them with Junior Shield. So nevertheless, the idea get planted, you planted the right person here, and when you keep on saying things, they can copy my ideas, asking about it, like in 2020, get in there and promise people to be a job, as I say to the voters, and then lie about it, right? But we are saying the explanation is Angula's not going to fall apart now. So people might say so because you don't fight it. We ain't not fight, Brother Cyril. People building. We are builders. And we are saying that the airport is needed because of the leaky airport. We know our airport itself can't guarantee flights, but you know what I always say? Anguillians must be the builders. Get as much Anguilla workers. And if they quote unquote even say that a regular Anguilla means you eat and fly, then our other brothers and sisters on other Caribbean islands. But we Anguillians first. You see what I'm saying? So that money now, concrete that they're building, those people are getting paid. One of two of them I know Jared and his father from East End, they're working at the airport. So that's benefiting Anguilla. You cannot stay at the same level of infrastructure, and we need roads. Yes?
Yes.
And we need Anguillas to get the roads so that we mess up our shacks, so we don't be spending a bunch of money on tires. So because of the bounce back after COVID, the revenue increased. They know they were given permission because you know the UK is here, it's part of our system. It's not the aliens, it's the UK. They gave approval, and for whatever reason, the UK did not agree with Treadco, but Treadco been around for a long time. Way before my cousin had it. That's a long time story. For whatever reason, the British don't like it. So now, if you're dealing with them practically, and they have to make some choices, you tell the people what you're doing. They don't make it look like magic. It's not magic when it comes to money. But most of the money is coming to GST, followed by AI, domain name registration, which is basically free money. Yes?
Yes.
And then there's no need for them to give us capital grants. So the more tourists will come, and the more who can stay in the expensive hotels, the more the accommodation tax under GST is. Because accommodation tax is now under GST. So GST will move up of food. You fight for it to move up of food. GST is not under insurance products. You fight for it not to be there. You see? So that's how you participate in it in a positive way with the civil servants, separate from the campaign frolic. You know campaign is frolic. You know that. Right? Because you smart enough. So once you explain it now, so say for instance, you get another COVID situation coming up. Then now the baseline for the revenue next year may drop to 472 million or 440 million. So that would be a negative outlook. But let's say now you get perfect sunshine, more American people got money because Trump tax cuts, for instance, and they're willing to come to Anguilla the marinas being built.
Mm.
What we say in Brother Cyril, with development, make sure the Anguillians are not left behind. With actual money, not just saying, I think I'll walk in the country, because only a subset of people can walk the country, right?
Right.
So we want the universal health care, that means you don't have to worry about going broke, because you're not covered now. You're not covered. I'm not covered because of our age. That will take care of that. No, if money is circulating in your bank account, that can take care of you buying a better computer, a better whatever, to improve something.
That's true.
So you keep on fighting for the policies, and each 3 to 5 years, you have to keep on making this medium-term economic and fiscal plan. And by the way, in about $500 million, remember what Jose said, you want $1 billion economy? But they gotta come. So at some point, they gotta come. But as you know, similar to the Dominican Republic and other places, most of the money come from the rich outsiders. Yeah. So we get affected by the cost of shipping goods into Anguilla, custom system. And yes, the food and glass expenses are always expensive. And then with the port fees increases, that would have affected them. So when we fought now for the tax credit for the electricity, that started in 2022. We also are fighting against the high fuel surcharge. So yes, we acknowledge their problems, but you look at the problem to fix it, not to be campaigning rah, rah, rah. We gotta answer them. And not do rah, rah, rah as you know it is a party. Learn about solutions and explanation. So Anguilla's not going to fall down because the debt is coming down and the revenue is going up. That's how come sure they were able to give themselves a double salary.
That's true.
However, that was not done equitably. However, the people in the private sector who work for themselves, especially people, Anguilla business people, Anguilla, not everybody here, Anguillians, they should get the 4,000, the 5,000, they should get the patent protection program. So the money is coming in. We just want to make sure the money is reaching the Anguillians, and that's not your economic theory, your explanation, and you're fighting. So that's how come, Brother Cyril. I talked to Dr. Wickler before. Dr. Eden, he's an economist, but he's not in the economic ministry. He's in home affairs. He shared the ideas, and of course, my brother. And then those are the people, Brother Cyril, who need the credit, not the people who let take the credit, but it's about patriotic civil servants. So every time with a budget, you got a positive outlook, baseline, negative outlook, those numbers can fluctuate. So those numbers are not the same, but there isn't the idea about the future plans, the expenditure is not a debt. It's a projection. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then now you have results, and the results is more than $330 million. They draw out the results because they use the results to pay off some of the debt and for the capital expenditure. So the revenue went into recurrent expenditure, capital expenditure, amortization, which is paying the debt, and the interest on the debt. And so the difference now, if you spend on a building, and say the building now is 90 million or 472 million, to make up the difference, you can use some of the results because you have more than a 92% resolve ratio, and the ratio is that should be simply 25%. We are almost at 100%. So that shows that the numbers are good, but simple. If people don't get the credit to a particular political government, they give it to us as Anguillians and the Anguilla economy. You see?
Yes.
So, yes, no, politicians, when the economy is good, they take credit for it. But most of the time, it has nothing to do with the politicians. It got to do with the factors. There's no more COVID. It got to do with the GST performance because of the hotels. There's no hurricane. So the hurricane come, I'm going to take credit for the hurricane like every day.
No, they
take
won't.
credit for building it back, right? With the British taxpayers' money.
Right.
Okay. So that's been part of this, right? So the difference is when people get you on, they want to be into the spin mode, in the attack mode. We are about the explanation and then for the improvement. Because I live in here now, Cyril. I want to feel good now. I want to feel good in 15 years. 15 years I might be dead. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel good whether this government in or next government in.
True.
So I want to feel as if I could survive and then thrive in Anguilla without a bunch of bureaucratic headache, but making things easy and for Anguilla to be registered, including that medical board system. I got a bunch of people who less qualified than me, who they are hired, and I want to think let them do it in Anguilla, kill them their own. But we can move our country upward, forwards, and onwards. We don't leave the people behind. And yes, Brother Cyril, if people say that people are quote unquote hungry, why would you be against food vouchers? Why would you be against the tax credit? Yeah, help the people. United States and Elon Musk makes most of his money from regulatory credits. But you only like to call rich people special. You gotta got money and then attack poor people. You gotta give the explanation to how money is created and how money can be used to help make Anguilla better.
I agree with you there. While you were explaining, I made a few points that I wanted to get back to. And you were there talking, one of the things you talked about is the doubling of government salaries or civil servant salaries. And you made reference to the private businesses. As a matter of fact, even here, what I have written down on the phone, I'm here looking at the word stagflation, and I'm looking at economic slowdown. And then I'm also looking at revenues for private businesses. The reason why I have all of this just written up together is because in my eyes, what I want to understand, right, is number one, Anguilla, because we understand, well, at least what's left is to explain to the general public just the two economies we have operating at the same time, as I explained on the Mayor Show on Cool FM Saturday Wagon. We have the foreign economy, or the white dollar, and we have the local economy, or the local dollar. To those who are unfamiliar, it starts with the understanding that 90% of the businesses in Anguilla are small to medium enterprises. Enterprises is just another word for businesses, in other words. But the vast majority of them are small to medium enterprises. Those small to medium enterprises, for the most part, are locally owned. So, and they are driven, or they operate on the performance, or the ability of our fellow Anguillian brothers and sisters, or our fellow islanders, or workers, however you want to look at it respectfully. It is dependent on their spending power. You get me? And even so, sadly, you would have heard me refer to the fact that usually we have an uptick in crime and violence when there's an uptick in the performance of the economy. But when you look at Anguilla, visually speaking, you're wondering like, okay, what you're talking about, uptick in the economy, things are still rough. That's because in that instance, you're referring to the performance of the white dollar, or the foreign economy. It's doing quite well. I mean, we have a whole marina that is being built out right now. So, the way I'm looking at it, right, is that Anguilla is essentially being described as experiencing stagflation, or you can even say that the economy is, in terms of the performance of the local economy, it is, trending towards an economic slowdown. Because even so, if you've been on Facebook, you would have seen me last year refer to it as a business closure epidemic, because the amount of businesses are closing down. Mr. Hobson, my question is to you, right? Number one, just give us an idea as to how slow the local economy is. And number two, in reference to your explanation earlier, you explained that how the government workers getting a double salary is really, in other words, doing that much for us. So then what would be the impact if the next administration, whomever it may be, what would be the impact if government were to just draw down on whether it may be the revenues or the reserves to say, give a cash injection into the local economy, in the sense that both businesses and families or working citizens get a stimulus check. You can even look at it as that, a stimulus check to help say start back up the generator of the local economy.
I agree 100%. That's a layered paycheck protection program. Yes. Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Because the money that you see coming in, that's foreign money. That's the thing that happened in Jamaica. So there's some people who want to get ants around this time. Let's use other islands. That bunch of money coming into Jamaica, building those expensive, big high-rise hotels. Yes, the Jamaican workers will get a small slice of it. Most of the money will be going to the owners who build it. And then with those workers get those low wages, $1, 90, $2 US, that's what it is in Jamaica for most hotel workers. They're not taking home much of the price. So that will be the local economy. What now, as you call it, the foreign direct investment economy, foreign economy, nothing wrong with that word. And now in America, first story now, they can't have about the alien, right?
Right.
Most of the money now that's coming in is going into those villas, high-end villas, and the high-end hotels.
Right.
They made reservation online, right?
Right.
So they pay by the credit card.
Right.
So they pay that 90,000, 150,000 for that week in an expensive hotel. The hotels get in their share.
Right.
Then the government get in a share. But Brother Cyril and Mr. down the road ain't getting that share. So that's how come there's this disconnect between the people who bragging. But I think I work in the country. Yeah, what does that mean though? The work in the country is the people at the job site.
True.
The construction workers.
Right.
How many of those are Anguillians? Right?
Right.
And there's not much of them. There's 700 Anguillians. And the rest of them, from other places speak a different language. So that is an example of a disparity between the people talking about the foreign direct money and the company that building the airport is not from Anguilla.
True.
Yeah? So they will get the profits because, of course, they bid on it.
Right.
They bid to make a profit.
Right.
And profit can be in the, at least, maybe more than 40, 50 million, possibly, right? It could be even more.
Right.
So depending on how they save the money and how they pay out the workers. So that's an example of the disconnect. So now we have your results. We know the British wanted there because the poor performance of previous years. We don't reach for to who was in. The other one in. All of them, whoever, back then.
Yep.
Just say the back then story.
Yeah. Right.
So we want to use that back then story now. We're going forward. Yeah. Give some to the families and to the businesses. Say, right, you get 100% agreement with that one. You say, I would say amen.
Yeah.
Because you had got it written down now, and you had to inject that same idea into the Inland Revenue Director, the Paycheck Protection Program, and we rate it. You see now, because you're honest and we are serious, we say it here, and we're going to use that way so that those other people don't get a talking point. They're going to spoon feed on taxpayer station.
Yeah.
That's what happened the last time around. The hobby talk about the deep sea fishing, the local cruises from Anguilla. And they steal the ideas and they get spoon fed on taxpayer station, make them look good. But who rated it? Who did the research rate, Brother Cyril? The black Dr. Hobson right here talking to you. You see? So we gonna fight the idea and implement it even sloppily. She sloppy. Because they still have to go to the private sector to buy the pharmaceuticals out of pocket. You see? So only some of the medicines are available there. So why they can brag on it as a talking point? But I never got about a talking point. Remember I told you from 2014. I didn't want to be no politics leader, Brother Cyril. I supposed to have a CEO job. But the CEO job was too good for me. Right? And a political operative in a political party could have made a job permanent. That's back when he was used days. And he refused to. Take from one side. And then when the other side get it, they made the job redundant.
Yeah.
See? So we don't have to pick no side, but we are on the side of justice. We are on the side that there's a difference between the local economy, and that's how come you got to ensure that the minimum wage is well paid. You got to bring the country towards that level, and you have to ease it out through, as you said, the stimulus checks. I agree that 1,000%. So you know, our monetary theory, that's the technical part behind of it, we have shared with Dr. Foy, Dr. Eden. We want to use that to benefit the Anguillians because there is a disconnect between local struggling businesses and the high-end billionaire Anguilla entered businesses with the foreign direct money. And they, of course, also have political capital. And We all know where the campaign funds come from. If you take a guess, most of the funds, yes, and that's where they have the influence.
Yes.
So we must fight for the ANGUILLA to have better pay, like you said, for the families, like tickets, to make sure there's a baseline of at least 3,000 EC dollars, and then go to 5,000 for the households in ANGUILLA. So we want our senior citizens to get more of that results. So yes, like you say, to boost the local ANGUILLA businesses, and you're correct. Most of them are small, and when they're struggling, why? Because some people don't pay the bill on time, but you still got to take it on your book, right? You if you borrow money from the bank, you got to pay high interest.
Right.
The bank that juggle a lot of money can't come. You see how the public bank did back a year ago.
Yeah, all those customers.
Yes, those say that's going to happen in 2022. You can't prove it. It's my part of business. And we just had to, but I get resolved though. But it did that. Yeah, that affects the local people. The headaches, the timing, the bureaucracy. So you're correct. And so now, like I said to our civil servant, did you work double? You didn't work double. So that if you're saying that it is a credit, it benefits the business people too, because they have a household.
Right.
The telecommunications is expensive, so anything but a zero, that's a form of stimulus check, helps alleviate the pain. So yes, we agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. The virus getting tired to the cause of the cold, but yes, we expect on that, and we agree that we are pushing that idea 1,000%. So in the question itself, it had the answer, and the answer, I agree with the answer too.
Yes. Well, knowing that your voice isn't the best, I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but I do appreciate the response. And of course, we can always do a follow-up to this. I would say, just to give it that nice ending, or say final question is, well, while we would have mostly outlined a lot of the key issues, well, you would have also mentioned a lot of plans and policies that you plan to implement. But I think that one thing that one person, or at least I as a voter, would like to walk away knowing, or at least have an idea of, is in terms of understanding how rough things are. Can you at least give us, as a political candidate looking for a seat in this 2025 general elections, can you at least give us an idea as to what you can even say, or
describe what some people will feel
as
how they think the campaign is? Some people who are doing well because they're getting contracts, but there are people who are struggling with the high cost of living in Angola.
Not only that, right?
Inflation. Yes.
But it's like mostly to say, give us a hope. What would you do different to say alleviate the hardships of Anguilla right now? Because it's like the year has just started. If we are looking at politicians going in, we want somebody to do something now. So what's your answer to that? What could you possibly do for us?
Universal basic income, the paycheck protection program, the people need some money in their pockets. So the businesses are dead and struggling, right? So a person is struggling out there and they don't have a well-paid job, a job that they're only doing to maybe cutting grass every now and again. What do they need? They need the money.
Right.
Where they get the money from? The lion tax abatement. So if you're getting a guaranteed income, guaranteed basic income, that's a direct stimulus check. So the answer to that hardship that you may have is money. You don't need no prayers from me. My prayers can help you. It might make you feel a little boost for a couple of minutes. But what you need is money. Right? And the purpose of government is helping people materially.
Oh.
Okay. On here, government delivering that stimulus check, reducing the burden of doing business, and also in other policies that can be generated, including universal payment system and the reform of the GST, continuous reform and monitoring, to ensure that Anguilla people can get a slice of the pie. And the only one who ain't only looking out for to get $500,000 themselves is the politicians. in other parties are going to answer, are they willing to cancel the participation? Ask them about it. Are they willing to get campaign finance in there? No. So if you don't have the campaign finance, the people who are local will struggle against the rich foreigners who want to pay as low wages as possible. But if the Lion is there, the Lion will be fighting for the Anguillians, starting from the bottom up. The people at the top don't need no help.
No.
The ones at the bottom need the help first.
Yes.
So we will get the stimulus checks out to them. We'll make it easy for them to get the business financing if they have a business plan that's viable. We will also create the paycheck protection program, the Lion paycheck protection program. If others want to see, but we already deliver the outline of it to the actual civil servants who could implement it. So whether or not we are in, we already know how the government works. The civil servants are the ones who does the heavy lifting. But if a civil servant brain is filled with lying information, then the civil servant will be in a position to convince the glamorous politicians what to do to make their voters, the regular voters, get improved life in Anguilla. And it's already going to happen. Any little improvement happen is because of Lion. And because of who Lion influence. And so that comes, like I said, from talking to the economists, including my brother, Dr. Wycliffe Fye, Dr. Ian Harrigan, Van Lee Harris, the treasurer, and influencing these individuals to ensure that there are programs that develop to get that money from the treasury into the pockets and bank accounts of the Anguillians. And we also need to be able to get back finance authority over the banks because these banks are doing too much nonsense with the customers' money. And there's another way of protecting the customers who are struggling because you are a citizen every day.
Yes.
But you only a voter once every 5 years.
That is
so make your vote count, make your brain work, understand, and Lion plans are published in newspaper. It's in public documents. Nobody else got to publish. And nobody else got no vision. And so when they might, all they could do is imitate. To make sure it's throw stones in attack. But they know when it comes to the soundness of ideas or any debate, that's when they run from debates. But our plans are already written, and we set up our new set of plans to be published in this week's newspaper. I think I sent you that written copy on Saturday, God's real life. I think you did.
Yeah, you did, yes. Yes, you did. And of course, as you continue to roll out your policies, of course, send them my way and I'll definitely post them for the general public to see.
Yeah, right? Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. With that being said, I do appreciate the time you did take out to be on this podcast with me. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but the most important part is that people got to hear you. And I really do hope that you do get much better. But other than that, I look forward to a follow-up. Hopefully the follow-up is to explain plans and policies so that people can understand as to what that vote for Dr. Lanny Hobson really means. I really want them to understand the weight of that vote should they choose you, should they decide to choose you as your political candidate or their political minister of government.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And of course, and then you always got to keep on working with technology and stuff. And of course, we have all other junk off the phone. You can see there's a new version of the Facebook that you be able to have on the line. But this work out good too anyhow because, with the voice and such, and then tomorrow an interview, the point is what information is there and you can judge the seriousness. You can know that we are about plans and ideas. And you can always go out to the newspaper and read it rather than just posting the junk and get the information to see the amount of information that we put out there. And it's a lot. And if you're really serious, with the end of the 50 or 40 pages, we hope they will actually read it. And not just, post the Trump-based stuff. Thank you very much, Brother Shillo, for inviting me on today.
Awesome, and I thank you for accepting the invitation. With that being said, I do appreciate you, and do have yourself a good night, and do get better, or do get well.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, good, my brother. Take care.
Bye-bye. With that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. You are in tune to how's it? Voices Podcast Elections Edition. I'm still bubbling with all of the information that Dr. Hobson gave me, and I'll be sure to upload the live after it's concluded right here on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. With that being said, thanks for tuning in. I am Shabian Sil-Etienne, investigative journalist for Radio Madness. Do take care and have a good night. God bless.